We ready? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's the reach. We ready? Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show. Shawnee, how's my audio? Am I good?
Yeah, you good.
Awesome. Again, on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, I'm Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner Shawnee, my man Coach Ferg is in the back. Guy Dante, he's got the night off, but hopefully you may chime in later on. But good to have you guys here on this first Wednesday in August. So we got NFL, we got training camp, opening games, we had Hall of Fame weekend. So we're going to chop it up. A lot of football today. Certainly on the schedule, but certainly before we get into this, let me just do a pulse check on everybody. How's your day gone so far, Shawnee? What's going on with you?
Man, busy. My job had me working overnight last night, so you have that. What was that? Monday was regular first shift schedule, and then we had a project to do overnight Tuesday.
Right.
So your sleeping pattern is already kind of screwed up. We're going from day to overnight, but we was able to get through that. But everything else, getting a little one, she's getting ready to go to kindergarten, so all that whole back to
Nice.
school stuff we currently in. So, but other than that, everything is good though.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm still, as you can see, I'm still working from my remote location. Okay, deep in the heart of Georgia here. So had a fairly productive week so far, and so I'm just grinding from here. So again, the show goes on. Hopefully, my hotel Wi-Fi doesn't conk out on me here. So again, if it does, I give my apologies ahead of time. But certainly, let's say hello to the coach. What's going on, sir? How you doing?
What's up, brother Ben? What's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Loud and clear.
I just
Coming
got my
through
mic
good.
turned down. Nah, man,
Awesome. Awesome. And
man,
so
I'm
like I said,
excited, man. It's that time of the year, man. August, first week of August. My wife's birthday coming up soon, real soon. Hey, man, I'm ready, man.
Awesome.
I'll give y'all a little update about me at the
What's
end.
going on? Okay, at the end. Okay, hold it to the end. Sounds good. Just make sure you come in tonight. Again, make sure you hit the like button. Also consider dropping a cash app or a super chat to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Also, certainly for our own individual super chat. Certainly, if you appreciate us, we'd appreciate any support that you give us. Certainly in the space. But yeah, let's get into this. So again, we're going to start off now. Again, just this full disclaimer. We're going to start off in Big D. So obviously the big news since last week. Obviously your boy Micah Parsons has certainly the relationship with the Cowboys has soured greatly. Now again, Shawnee, you're always the one that says all this drama that has to take place with the Cowboys before Jerry caves and he pays or whatnot. So again, Micah Parsons is seeking a trade from the Cowboys, and so again, is this legit this time? Or again, is this still smoke and mirrors? Is this the okie doke? Are we going to get the gotcha at the end of the day? Is the deal still going to get done? Or is this relationship so fractured that it cannot continue? So since you're the resident Cowboy, you're got your ear to the ground down there. What is going on in Big D, and how did we get here with Mr. Parsons? And if he does leave, what do you think he lands?
Well, I think from Parsons' perspective, he may. I'll give it about a 40% chance of seriousness. I think Parsons' main thing is because Jerry is not talking to his agent, so that's his biggest thing. And Jerry, I honestly really don't think Jerry's really two-phased. I give Jerry maybe like a 15% concern because Jerry history shows Jerry pays his stars. Now, if he does not pay Parsons and they do ultimately go and trade him, that'll be totally different than what he's done in particular in his history as a Cowboy. So they I think with Parsons, I still believe that a deal will get made by the end. It's the same formula that the Cowboys do, which is annoying that they wait so long. Um, I was listening to sports radio when I was on the way to the house today. They brought up a good analogy. It's almost like if you go on house shopping and you see a home on the market, like say if you saw the house on the market in April and it had like a 4.9 interest rate, but you don't buy it,
Mhm.
and then you ultimately wait till November, and now the house then went up 100 grand. So what's that saying? So saying go what's that? Yesterday's price is not today's.
Yeah,
Because the
something like
Cowboys
that.
wait so long. Because this came off the heels that Jerry recently, um, what's her name, Jane Slater. She used to be a Cowboys reporter, and now she works for NFL Network. Well, today she actually uh, interviewed Jerry while at training camp, and he was. So when Jerry brought the Cowboys, let's say back in '89, I think he purchased it for what, 89 million.
Mhm.
So he was saying like when he brokered that deal, he did it over a handshake and eye contact. Literally, that's what he was saying: a handshake and eye contact. Jerry is 80 plus years old, so he definitely is old school. Well, he was saying like I guess originally with Micah and them, it was kind of similar with a handshake and eye contact agreement on a deal. And then of course then he said, of course he knows he has to put in pen and paper. Well, just like going back to the house analogy, if you don't sign up to buy that house in April, don't get mad when the price of that house goes up in November. Well, if you don't put pen and paper to whatever contract agreement that both sides made earlier, then whatever that was agreed, that don't matter today. Price went up, various circumstances or whatever. So I think here in DFW, man, it's the same old song. It's just with the three mainstay players on this franchise, they all going through it. If you look at a lot of the franchise players on the Cowboys, they all had to go through this. So they all had like their own contract holdout per se. So the only thing about Micah just he talks. He has his podcast. I think he's the only one who ever had a podcast, and so he doesn't mind talking. Even though I don't think he's been saying this in his podcast, he's been saying it on his interviews. But he talks. So that's basically the main thing. Dak is always corporate. Dak is buttoned up. So Dak was during his holdout, he was trying very hard not to say the wrong thing. I think one time he did get frustrated, but not to the point like Micah. CD, kind of the same thing. But Micah, he talks, so he's almost like Jerry. Yeah, they both talk a lot.
I heard that. Coach, what are your thoughts on this? Is this again? Is just same old Jerry? We're gonna get a contract done here.
Yeah.
Or is this thing a done deal?
It's the same old Jerry. It's a new wave of player feelings type of player in Parker. What's his name? Parsons.
Yeah, Mike.
Because he's talking too much. That's the problem. Shut your ass up. You got to shut up. You look at all the other negotiations before you. Everybody was quiet. They understood it. I've only heard about Henderson out of Cincinnati, but even then, it wasn't a whole bunch of extra YouTube, all that podcast talking about football and contract. That'll mess him up. That'll mess him up for his future. It ain't got nothing to do with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones understand the play. Johnny, you already said from the best players he had Hall of Fame players. He did that after they done proved that they was Hall of Fame players. So him, we ain't won a playoff game yet, bro. Calm down. But I think, dang, if he get that money, man, you talking about 150 million in 3 players. That's a losing recipe on any organization.
Yeah.
So it's just, but Jerry Jones understand he got the money. He can get. I think he gonna give it to him in a signing bonus. He gonna go and give him $100 million signing bonus and the rest. That'd be the best way. He got the money, man. Let's stop playing. He got the money. Tenfold. Yeah. Give him a signing bonus, man, and tell him shut up. Be like, you ain't getting no more contracts. But he gonna mess himself up if he keep talking that off the inside stuff of football that we should know, all that contract. He gotta be here, hush us. He gotta get somebody to sort of, I don't know, man. It's a new wave of I'm in my feelings type of player. So it won't play out on the big screen.
Right. Now, if he does go, now again, shout out to Tom being in the build tonight. So he's talking about Buffalo could be a potential slot for him. Certainly, I would like that move because I know their edge rusher. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's still injured or coming back from the Bills, but certainly he would be a nice replacement for man. He used to play for the Broncos, and now he's with the Bills. Von Miller. So again, that'd be a healthy upgrade from Von Miller if they decide to go in that direction. What do you think? Could Buffalo make a play for or for Micah in this move, or do you think Jerry, like I said, him and Jerry are gonna settle this thing?
Whoever gonna come asking for Micah, it's gonna cost them a hell of a price.
Right.
I'm
thinking again, Buffalo. I mean, they've been on the precipice. Like they have a window. They've had like the last 3 or 4 years. They've been knocking on that door, getting knocked out of the AFC Championship game against KC. Been very close against, certainly against KC last year. So again, if they're thinking they got a window here to win, could he be that missing cog that takes them finally over the edge, at least to get to a Super Bowl? Can he be a difference maker in that regard?
I think he'll be definitely a good piece. He can definitely be a good piece. Still remains to be seen because I mean we've mentioned it on several occasions here. The X factor of Micah, he takes himself out of running plays. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's a gaping hole too because if a team just will focus on running the ball and running his way, that's unless you got the linebackers who can cover him up, that's a hell of a weakness. Yeah. So game changer, yes, because he can get to the quarterback, but it depends how stubborn the opposing team is. Like if you playing against the Ravens, when the Bills beat the Ravens last year, even though the Ravens they do stuff in the playoffs. They seem like they go against what was successful for them in the regular season. So, yes, you have obviously a running quarterback and a running back. And you would think, okay, you could take advantage of it if the Bills were to go get Parsons and just run his way. But who knows the Ravens? They may ultimately do something and have everybody's heads, scratching their heads at it. But Micah will be a game changer. Like I say, if you just need a pass rusher, and so
now Tom is not agreeing with you so much. Said Lamb wasn't quiet, Dak wasn't quiet, and Ezekiel.
I didn't say they was quiet, but they didn't talk like Micah. Like Dak went about it more button up. Yeah, Dak went about it more button up. He had a moment where he got frustrated, but it wasn't like he was mute. And Lamb, he wasn't like Dak, but neither one of them talked as much as Micah. Mm-hmm. It's not like they was mute during the contract negotiation.
And we always got to listen. You always got to understand. The media knows that the contracts are due too. So the media asks certain questions. So they already know that. Everybody know the contract is due. That's why they come and ask you these questions. So you basically, they are mentioning it. Yeah, we got to get a contract done. I want my money, but that's it. They ain't 6:30 in their room talking about, man, I don't know, I talked to him Friday, but you don't do that. If the media come to you, All the news waves gonna hit it. ESPN, sport, everybody that's writing, everybody that's doing live, they're gonna ask you questions because they already know the contract. But as far as that personal, he can't do that. But he still, and see, I said about it, he can hold Jerry Jones accountable just by saying, man, talk to my attorney. I mean, my agent. He's talking to him. He said, talk to my agent. But hey, it's all a game, man. It's all a game. He gonna get his money, but may not be in Dallas.
Gotcha. Let's stay in the NFC East. So again, just as that was certainly arguably the biggest domino, another domino that's falling. So here we have Terry McLaurin has also asked to be traded. Now again, different situation with the team from Washington, the Commanders. You have had a rookie quarterback, had an excellent season. They made it all the way up to I believe the NFC championship game or the divisional game. And so again, they're in good position to they acquire some acquisitions off season, but this has become a tumultuous situation. So he's asked for a trade, and so the question is, what about his situation, and where do you think he's trying to land up? A lot of teams might be interested in the try. He's a legit number 2, if not a number 1 wide receiver target. He would certainly be a prize. I could certainly see someone giving up at least a second rounder for him. He's in the prime, still on his young prime side. So what do you think of his prospects for staying with the Commanders or going to another team? And if he does go, where do you think he's going to go? I know shout out to our guy Trey Taylor. We talked to him on Sunday. He's like he didn't want to talk about this, so I thought I would see him in here tonight. But what's your thoughts on this situation? And so what is the what do you think of the situation? So Coach, I'll start with you. Again, does McLaren get a deal done? Because especially, I'll be honest, after last year, that almost like, the boy cried wolf. After the man from Cleveland, he, said all that nonsense and still that he got his money. It's almost like you can't believe it's just more so a tactic now, more so legit, has the relationship fractured, and does he want out of Washington? So again, Coach, your thoughts on this particular situation? If he does leave, again, what team do you think picks up McLaurin, and what do you think he's worth in the market as far as draft picks?
I think Washington is being stupid right now. You got 2 key players on offense that can learn and grow together. Both of them are young, just stepping in. Go ahead and pay them. I don't know who else they got on as a receiver. I guess they believing in Daniel so much that the fact that he had a great rookie year, he can probably do it with any receivers. He could be a number 1. He wants to be paid as a number 1. So I don't know, but if he went to another team, anywhere, let me see, anywhere where they don't have 2 number, like anywhere except Minnesota, maybe Detroit. I don't know about the Texans. I think their receivers hurt. I don't know if he's back. Philadelphia, he can go to LA. He can go to anybody else. Everybody, I don't see outside of no Miami. He can definitely go to San Francisco with Ayuka being hurt, but yeah, the Colts, he can go to at least 20 teams in the NFL right now. But
what do you think his draft type? What is he worth? First round, second round? What do you think he can get?
What was he drafted as? A second round? First? What was he drafted at? So I think he's worth whatever he was drafted as. But once a player gets that 1,000-yard season, they believe that they should be paid as a top receiver.
3rd round pick.
He's
76 overall.
He's worth a second. Yeah. He's worth a second. Yeah. He's played up to it. He's played up to his ability. But I think what is he, a restricted free agent or unrestricted?
Well, he's in his 5th year, right? So this is his
he's looking for his second contract. Can they franchise him this year? They can franchise him, can't they?
I think so. And I think he did. I think he did show up for training camp. So it's not like he's going to be a holdout. He's not going to sit out the year.
He's a holdout.
Your microphone's trying to move.
I don't know if he's I don't know
Brother
if
Bennett, your microphone.
It's not working?
It's low.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me check it out. All right. Go ahead. Keep it going.
No, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I think they jumped the gun when they request trades too soon. I would just go out there and I wouldn't say practice, but I'll be a warm up, making a killing over on the sideline over I'll be up on that other field doing all kinds of spectacular moves, so they can be like, "Yeah, go on, pay him, man." And but yeah, he get his money. They should pay him. They need him. I think it'd be a great combination with him and McDaniels just growing together, man. So yeah, I don't know, man. But again, it's money.
I think because we just finished talking about the Cowboys and with Parsons and his contract negotiation, and his is just okay. You an elite player at your position, you know, you want to get paid the high dollars. With McLaurin, he well, who knows what he could have been if he would have had the quarterbacks throwing him the ball. You know, he went through his shares of quarterbacks, mediocre quarterbacks, but he did pretty much everything the Commanders franchise asked him to do. And that dude was doing special teams. He was a true, legit team player. So you will figure, and he's been productive. And then once you finally gave him a quarterback, he's putting up like roughly, first team type numbers, NFL first team type numbers. So if you want to be a franchise, especially since they're trying to go a different way after the whole Snyder era, you have a player that gave. Y'all hear echo?
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a player that pretty much
Benny,
gave
I think
you
you got
everything.
StreamYard going twice.
Now, is the echo still there? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. No, you have no echo.
Yeah. We got an echo, but you don't.
Interesting.
But
I don't have
I'll
another
work.
StreamYard. I don't have another StreamYard. So
Wow.
I'll work through it. But McLaurin, he definitely did everything for a franchise. You take care of those loyal players. Me being a Texans fan, I saw that when Bill O'Brien just unexpectedly traded DeAndre Hopkins, who was an elite receiver when he got traded. He only got traded for a second round pick. So I think franchise should definitely take care of their own, especially if he did everything that you asked him to. And then when you finally gave him a franchise quarterback, he gave you elite numbers. That right there should automatically, man, this pay him. And the fact that he's going through this battle, this contract battle, I think is unfortunate. I know he requested a trade, but I believe he will definitely accept a qualifying or like a legit offer if the Commanders were to give him one. But he definitely deserves. I mean, I look at Parsons. I guess he's one of your star players of the Cowboys. But I look at McLaurin like, as far as when it comes to the Commanders, I think he deserves his money more than Parsons do, just because the history that he is and the investment. Cause you remember with Parsons, you still got to worry about this dude being healthy. McLaurin, he was there. He was producing even when y'all didn't give him anything. So, yeah, I think he should definitely get his money and stay with that particular franchise. Because they lose him, they going to feel it. They will feel it.
gotcha. Lots of moves certainly to be made, and we'll see what happens. I know our guy, shout out to Lost in Translation, being in the building tonight. So he's saying he ain't going. Parsons isn't going anywhere, and we'll have to see if in fact McLaurin stays with Washington. But it seems like they're definitely a team on the rise. So again, why upset the apple cart at this point in time? But let's move certainly to the next segment here. So we're talking about, again, this is obviously last weekend was NFL Hall of Fame weekend. And so we have the Hall of Fame class of 2025, a smaller class than usually in the past. Usually they try to go in with 6 usually, especially when you take in like honor, special contributors and whatnot. But a smaller class this year. Also, what I think was different about this year is the length of the show. It actually started in the afternoon. Usually the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I know they have the NFL honors like the night before, the Saturday, but the Friday. But typically, what happens is that's a prime time event.
and guys are typically allowed to speak. I mean, we've heard some long ones. We've heard primes, and we heard guys talk 45 minutes or whatever. No one's pulling the plug on them. This time, everybody just seemed to be very scripted. The guys were like limited to like 15 minutes on average, so they weren't letting guys just sort of run with the speeches or what have you. I mean, I've always liked the guys really sharing their stories and their testimonies and whatnot. So I always got up for that. But again, it just seems like it was a much more copped and scripted this year, where it seemed like guys could have said a lot more. Again, I don't know what you guys think about that in regards to the formatting this year, but it seems like, so again, a smaller class, a shorter speaking schedule, and as far as the inductees themselves, I have some questions on some of these guys. So again, every week we've been talking about somebody's Hall of Fame status, someone's GOAT status, or what have you. So again, this year, Sterling Sharpe, Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Antonio Gates is the Hall of Fame class this year. So the first questions to the panel is, again, do you guys have any questions about some of the this year's inductees? Are some of these guys in fact Hall of Famers? I'll just start off and say I think Sterling Sharpe should have been in a long time ago. Just like this is also him and his brother Shannon, the first brothers to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. And I still remember to this day when Shannon gave his Hall of Fame speech, he said he might be the only guy in the Hall of Fame, and he's not even the best player in his own family. So he was giving kudos to his brother then, that Sterling was the much better wide receiver. Physical. I mean, he did everything. He had catches. He had all of the the attributes. Unfortunately, he had an injury that cut his career short. But he had all pro seasons, and you could certainly he was among that elite status of wide receivers. Everybody else, I don't know. We might be talking about Hall of the Very Good here, but let's get your perspectives, Coach. Did you have any issues? I don't know how much of the Hall of Fame induction that you caught. Your thoughts on if you did see it, your thoughts on the presentation. And then as far as the inductees this year, again, are all these guys worthy entries into the Hall? Or again, is this another case with the Hall of the Very Good?
Man, the list is getting shorter and shorter, man. I guess as they looking at the players' history and career stats, the stats is getting a little bit more skimpy. So I mean, I'm surprised that they only have 4. You already said Sterling Sharpe; he should have been in already. Antonio Gates, yeah, I think as far as tight end numbers, he was always consistent. Wasn't he getting close to 100 receptions a year? He was catching a lot of passes though, and he's pretty good though.
All right, so here's his stats. So again, to me, is a bit of a compiler. 16 seasons. He's had some. He's never had a 100-catch season. 955 receptions overall. He and he got in. I guess this is his second year of eligibility that he got in on. I mean, but I mean, he's not. When we talk about tight ends of his era, he's no Gronk. He's no Kelsey. So, 8-time Pro Bowler. Again, the first half of his career from 2004 to 2011, he was a premier tight end in the league. The latter 10 years of his career, 9 years of his career, not as much. So again, this feels more like a compilation, more so than a guy who's like, and I'm always saying that, when people look at you, were you amongst the best? Now, again, Hall of Fame 2000s team, I don't know if that's the official, that's not the all-decade team. But nevertheless, when I think of guys who played in this era, again, I'm thinking Gronk, I'm thinking, like I said, Kelsey and those kind of tight ends at the time. But Shawnee, what are your thoughts on this? Is this a worthy entry into the Hall of Fame, or is this again another case of the Hall of the Compilers or the Hall of the Very Good?
Well, you remember what we were saying is if a player makes an all-decade team, and Antonio, he was a 2000s all-decade, so I believe he's a Hall of Famer. And it was a conversation we had on this show. We was comparing like Hall of Fame talent tight ends versus each other, and I forgot who we was comparing it to and what we were saying about it, because I remember we was going back and forth with Gates versus another elite tight end. But Yes, I believe Gates is definitely worthy of the Hall of Fame. Um, I believe now the only one what was it? Four of them? Sharp, Allen,
Yeah,
Gates,
yeah.
and
Two,
yeah,
two, two, two Allens, Jared Allen.
yeah, and Eric Allen. Only
Yeah.
only one that has me like, and it depends on how long he was on the ballot, was Eric Allen. I mean, I remember he was a good cornerback. He was a good cornerback.
Yeah.
But
Again,
when you could compare his
average
stats,
numbers. Yeah. Now
yeah,
he's got 54 lifetime INTs, which is good. I think any of these guys, you get over 50 plus INTs in your career,
and that
I
may have
think you
been what it
certainly join the
was. That may have been what it
conversation.
was.
So again, another compiler to an extent. 6-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All Pro. Now again, this UPI, that's not the official AP. That's not who they go on to, in terms of decoy. That's not what they use. It's another press group that makes this selection. He won that award in 1993, but I'm not sure. Again, certainly he's been, this is almost like a legacy sort of battle. He retired in 2001. So again, 24 years later, he gets into the Hall. But again, even in his time, I never thought, okay, yeah, you got a game plan for him. I don't know if he was ever like a shutdown corner like that. At least I don't remember from his time playing. So again, this feels more like the Hall of the Very Good.
Well, you know why he got in,
versus-
Brother Bennett? You know
Why
what
is
got
that?
him in?
What is that?
His touchdown.
Oh, so it's right. So what? 8 career touchdowns?
No, he led in the history. Tight end.
Oh, you talking about Tanner Gates?
Yes,
116
Antonio
touchdowns.
Gates.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
116 touchdowns.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's an impressive stat. I mean, I'm not, I'm saying, I put it this way: I feel better about Antonio Gates than I do about Eric Allen. Like nothing kind of leaps off the page for me for Eric Allen as the guy, or when you think about the best corners of all time, he doesn't necessarily come up on the list. But again, he has over 50 career INTs, certainly in his career, and again, I'm happy for anybody who gets into the Hall. But I think there's a reason if you 24 years trying to get in, then that's almost like an honors ballot or some sort of special ballot that he's on. But again, I'm still surprised just given the size of the class. Like, are there other guys? Could you have either added 2 other guys, or could you have found someone more deserving of Hall of Fame entry than Eric Allen? But again, I think his numbers don't leap off the page for me in the same way that some of these other DBs have over the years. But again, congrats to him and his family, certainly for getting in. And I don't think he even went, to my knowledge, I don't even think he went to a Super Bowl. Again, I know that's a team accomplishment, but certainly, again, this feels like a more Hall of the Very Good versus
Touchdowns. Touchdowns.
No, I'm talking about Allen now. I'm not talking about Gates.
It's Hall of the Very Good.
We talk about Eric Allen. Yeah, Gates, I'll give you the 116 touchdowns. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And he had like 10 straight Pro Bowls. Certainly from 04 to 11, about 8 straight Pro Bowls. So again, at that time, certainly if you want to put him on an all decade team, yeah. I mean, you can.
And yards up per reception. It's one of the highest. It's high.
Yeah. And so you can certainly make an easier case for him than you can Eric Allen. But let's fast forward. So again, we had this class. Again, congrats to the inductees. Again, Sterling Sharp, long overdue. But let's talk about this new class that's coming up. So again, we have coming up, we have this new class. So again, first time eligible for Hall of Fame entry. Again, Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, and Frank Gore. Now again, this might be the hardest. Now, again, as much as I've talked about entry and getting in and what have you, this might be one of the harder ones for me because, again, we talk about compilers. And I think the ultimate compiler in this list is Frank Gore. And again, if you look at the man's stats, the guy's got 16,000 rushing yards, right? You can't beat that. He's third all time on the on the all-time list, okay? 5-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Fame, again, all 2010s team. Even though he's got three Pro Bowls in that period. But again, this just doesn't feel like a Hall of Fame, like off the rip. Like, do you think Frank Gore? Again, a compiler, and again, especially at running back. I mean, you got to give him credit because again, running back, we all know the average lifespan of a running back. So for him to be able to play that many games and have that many seasons, and be healthy enough to play that position for that period of time, I think that is certainly very worthy of respect. But again, is this a Hall of Fame resume in your view? 81 touchdowns, again, also very impressive. 4.3 yards per carry. But what are your thoughts? This might be one of the harder ones to argue, but I can't. It's hard to not argue 16,000 yards, even though you had guy. Yeah, that's a hard one.
What is he a part of? What is he a part of already?
What? The 2010s team.
That's basically, especially when we talk NFL. If you see a player and they made their respective all-decade team, that means they were one of the best players in a 10-year span at their position. So right there, I mean, yes, he's
it's not just one, because usually they only pick no more than 2 players on that list. When you talk about all-decade, so Adrian Peterson is going to outdo him on the all-decades team from the 2000s. Without even blinking.
And AP will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and LaDainian. Look at the top 10 guys on this list. Who are you picking Frank Gore over? You're not picking him over any of these guys.
But that don't.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Frank Gore's toe is already in the Hall because he was an all-decade. Of course, you can look at this list and say Tony Dorsett is better than Frank Gore.
I can say everybody on this list is better than Frank.
And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But just because he's at the top 10 running back of all time, that don't mean they're going to shut the door on him to the Hall. He already has his key. That's that all-decade team. So they're going to just come on in, Frank. We got your spot right here. Because it's players who is limited in the Hall of Fame, but it's also limited when you get an all-decade team. So once you see that on your resume, they already making your bust up now. Your spot now. It depends when they. I don't think he's going to be a first ballot. That is going to change, but he's going to get in there. Like if you go back to that list, like I think when we did this in the group text, I chose 5. You have that screenshot again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to see them names again. So Fitzgerald and Breeze, first ballot.
Yeah, I think that locks. Yeah.
And then as I go on down the list, and this now I'm just going, okay, who I believe the 5 players from this, 5 or 6 players from this is going to make a 26 Hall of Fame. Fitzgerald, Breeze, the Pouncey brothers, and Sean Lee. Maybe Thomas Davis. They may make him wait a little bit. Or even, they may even, okay, the 6th player is going to be Jason Witten. I don't think this, so.
If they decide to go that direct, like I said, they went in this year with 4. So
yeah.
It's not a guarantee that they're going to pick 6 players.
But I don't know. I don't know how Dez makes lists. Dez, I gotta go look. Maybe he has an all-decade on his. I think Stephen Gostkowski.
What they're saying first time eligible players. So again, I think some of these guys are highlighted, but I think all these guys are eligible first year.
Yeah.
So this will be Dez's first. Going in.
Him and LaShawn McCoy. They gonna take.
So can I ask you a question, man?
Yeah.
Because I don't even know. I just want to. Tom Brady's in the Hall of Fame already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. He didn't already, gave him one of them exceptions. I don't even think I watched that.
What? No, he's
what I'm saying, he hasn't been like no ceremony in the Hall of Fame.
No, he's not. He's not.
Why wouldn't they just go ahead and add him to a class, man? What they waiting on?
Man,
Ain't
you gotta
no
get
if
the
if they put him in the Hall of Fame this year, it'll probably sell out. But I don't know what they're waiting on. He don't need to wait 5 years. He's like,
Well,
come
yeah,
on, man. They should.
you could say that for every. I mean, I mean, Jordan
No,
shouldn't have to
Tom
wait.
Brady is an exception, though.
Jordan shouldn't have to wait 6 years. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, none of those guys should have had to wait. But I guess
Yeah,
it's a
but this
process.
is
I guess
football.
so.
Yeah,
I
it's a process.
Brady will be eligible in 2028.
See what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hey, that's a rule that the Hall of Fame. Cause remember, this is the NFL, and then it's the Hall of Fame, and they
Yeah, that's
own.
what I'm saying. They got
You
their own
know,
rules, but
yeah.
it makes no
So
sense.
yeah, they ain't gonna change it for one player. But
They might.
Brady, they probably have his whole section done by the time he
By
even gets.
himself. He probably going by himself. You know.
Absolutely.
So, but I believe,
I don't see
yeah,
no-
Fitzgerald, Breeze, the Pouncey brothers, and Sean Lee.
Right.
Frank Gore gonna make it according to this list.
Yeah, he's gonna
According
make
to
it.
Like I
that,
said,
I
you
don't
can't.
think
You
he's gonna be first
can't.
ballot.
You
he gonna
can't
make it this
argue
year,
16.
next year.
You can't argue 16.
4.3
That
yards a
is, you
carry.
know.
Listen, I don't know if y'all ever played running back. 4.3 yards a carry is Hall of Fame numbers. That's
Yeah,
Hall of
and
Fame
like I said,
numbers.
and was got like 14 seasons in, 15 seasons in. So I mean, yeah, I
But
mean,
them yards per
at running
carry.
back, that is very rare air that he's in. So I got to give it to him. But I'm just saying, but off of the list here, I would take all of these players. So again, he's not even the top 10 of, in my view, of all time. Just given
No.
these, and he won't be out. I mean, certainly of a man with Philly, Saquon's gonna pass him, or certainly gonna be compared favorably to him. So you got current running backs now that and man with the Ravens, he's gonna probably pass him too. So because these guys got near 2K season. So
You saying pass him in far as 16,000?
I don't know about pass as far as a yard. I'm just saying, like, if you were to list out all these backs. So again, I'm saying he's not worthy of this top 10, and I already got two guys in Saquon and my man who plays for the Ravens. I'll put them in front of him as well. So he's slipping down the scale, even though he has this compilation. He's still slipping down the scale, in my view, because he's not better than those other two running backs. So again, this feels like the Hall of the Very Good. Not necessarily, and obviously this is to me the ultimate example of a compiler versus saying. But for any one season, did you ever think that Frank Gore was the best running back in the NFL?
No.
No,
Okay,
but
so that's my point.
I was consistent though.
But he was
I know,
he's most
we get-
consistent.
we-
So you
we
looking
get
at you're
that.
looking at the eye test, brother Bennett. You looking at the eye test.
Yes.
But-
No,
but
it's
it's
just the
what-
eye test.
it's the results.
It's the
It's the results.
Frank Gore. It should be this. Frank Gore. Yeah, that was a bad boy. Just like when you said Emmett, bad boy. Walter Payton, bad boy. The Juice. Even O.J. Simpson's not on this list. He's not in the top 10. And I would take O.J. over virtually anybody. Anybody. Because he did his 2K in 14 games. And he was the only part of that offense. So, yes, I'll put Juice over pretty much anybody on this list. Maybe save Barry Sanders, right? Who's like, just free, video. Barry Sanders is like a video game. So, I may put him above everybody. But, I mean, the Juice.
And sweetness. What you talking about, man? Sweetness, man.
Sweet was nice, but I'm just saying, like, out of everybody who played, again, Jim Brown's not on this list. But again, Jim Brown played like in the 50s and in the 60s. So again, they didn't even have pads on. they barely came out of the leather helmet era when he played. So again, I don't want to take it back all the way back, and you start putting some guys in there, from that early age of football. But I'm just saying, just since the 70s on up, you can make an argument that certainly, again, OJ might be on the GOAT list for a lot of people, regardless of his off the field issues or what have you. Still a legendary player. But again, certainly if Frank gets in, again, I don't hate on anybody who gets in. Again, this is very much like the Eli Manning. I don't know what the Hall of Fame is anymore. Drew Brees has to go in because Eli Manning is going, and Eli Manning is not a Hall of Fame. So again, the guy's got 2 Super Bowls. He's got a ton of passing yards, but yeah, I mean, so it's becoming harder to say who indeed is or making a case when you letting again a lot of these very good players get in. But I would definitely say Frank Gore is a very unique case given the
Well, Mr.
longevity that
Bennett,
he
how do
had
you
at the
feel about
position.
another running back on this list, Curtis Martin? Because
Again,
he
yeah,
wasn't a flashy running back, but if you look at his numbers, he was extremely solid.
I agree. Again, didn't flash off the page. I thought in that same era, I thought give me Bettis, give me the bus. Call me a biased Steelers fan. But again, you just look up and he had these numbers. But the bus, I mean, just in terms of eye test for a guy that big to have them little nifty feet of his to do what he did. I mean, I would take bus over him. You look at LaDainian Tomlinson. Not only running but also receiving the ball. I mean, he was very, again, there's some guys, that I would certainly, take certainly over Gore. So so again, this is going to be an interesting case, the case that they're going to argue for him. But again, top three of all time, I think you got to let him in, and especially now we're in this pass happy league now, where running back is starting to try to make a comeback, but yeah, I think he definitely gets in. I don't know if he gets on first ballot.
Running back
But
is making a comeback, but the workhorse running back is
So,
almost gone.
yeah.
I think the last one of his kind is probably I was about to say Derrick Henry, but then Saquon is like that
Yeah,
too
Saquon Barkley. Yeah.
until he takes himself out. So, but it's definitely not a thing now because running backs they get injured too frequently right now.
Gotcha. Let's keep it moving in the NFL. So again, we have here from DraftKings. So you had an AI. They use AI to predict the team's over and under win totals this year. You also have the NFL power rankings since the draft. So, which is interesting, they have the Kansas City Chiefs at number one, given their draft. But again, it's typical. No big surprises here. Although I am a bit surprised that San Francisco is higher than they are. I don't really see them, being that well. I don't have a lot of confidence in Purdy. Their running back is always hurt. So again, I would certainly drop the 49ers much lower in this list as far as the power rankings are concerned. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about on the left. Let's talk about some of these over-unders. Is there anything on the over-under list that you see here that sticks out to you? So again, the usual suspects at the top. I gotta say San Francisco is going to be way under that 10.5. I don't know where that's coming from, but I don't see them getting over 10 wins. I just don't. But coach, any of these numbers stick out to you? Somebody needs to be higher. Someone needs to be dropped lower. What's your thoughts on this? The Jaguars, I don't see them over 7.5 wins either. I'm just not seeing where these numbers are coming from. But what are your thoughts, coach? And then we'll go to Shawnee.
Man, they talking about Pittsburgh got a Super Bowl caliber team, but you see how far they down on the list.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's defense is unstable. I'm surprised Chicago is up as high as they are. I think that first was it 14, first 16. I think I would take Chicago out, bring Pittsburgh in. I would also bring Atlanta in and I would take Denver out.
Now, when you say take out, meaning that there would be over or under
They would be
their win
over.
total.
I would put Pittsburgh over 8.5, more so in the nines, and I would put Atlanta over Cincinnati's. So I would just replace them because I think Atlanta's underrated. I'm surprised Chicago is so high, and I'm surprised that the Jets are so low. Because I mean, I don't really get into this because the game still has to be played.
Hmm.
I think Minnesota, of course, with the uncertainty of the quarterback, but the first 16, I'm gonna bring Cincinnati, Chicago out, and put Pittsburgh and Atlanta Falcons up. Just replace them with the over and unders.
Gotcha.
I'm so,
Shawnee.
I agree with Coach when he mentioned, I truly believe the games are settled on the field. And at the end of the day, all 22 players on both sides of the ball on the field, they are professionals, so they can beat each other any given game. So, but going by these numbers, I believe Cowboys are going to be over 7.5. I think they're going to get at least 10 wins. That's just how they go. Like, what NFC East have had a repeat champion in over 8 seasons? So yeah, I think it's still that's going to continue.
Sonny,
What's that?
real quick, the caveat: with or without Parsons.
With I think when the ultimate said done, he's going to get his money. Now, without him, I still think they're going to get at least 8 to 9 wins. Because even, say if he gets his money, you still got to worry about him being injured now. So you almost got to take some games off of his plate one way or the other. I think the Buccaneers are going to get at least 10 wins, maybe 11 because of that division. Mm-hmm. Right now, the NFC South goes through the Bucs and their quarterback. Mayfield, I think he's highly underrated. You know how QBs, they find a niche on a certain team. You see them having productions. Mayfield has signed that with Tampa Bay. And you look at his numbers, they up there with the elites in the NFL since he's been with Tampa. And many times when they start losing, because he started losing some receiving weapons. I remember Chris Godwin missed a lot of chunks last year and stuff like that. But I think they can win at least 10 games, mainly due to the division they are in. Because I don't see nobody else in that NFC South right now. Maybe Atlanta, but they have to click. It hasn't clicked for them yet. So we waiting on to see what Michael Penix's going to be. We think he's going to be this gunslinger who can ultimately get them there. But that remains to be seen. But I think they're going to have over 10 wins. My Texans, I think they're going to have, what was they at, 9.5? Yeah. I think that may be, well, they may be 10 because, again, their division, AFC South. Who else? It's the Colts, Jaguars, and the Titans. So I think they'll be able to get their 10 wins because they also in a fairly weaker. Even though with division games, you can't really say they're weaker because division opponents play each other the hardest. Yeah. I remember how great when San Fran was going through their run, but when they go against the Cardinals or the Rams or anybody in their division, just super tight games compared to how it was against the other teams in the NFL. When you play each other twice a year, ultimately they're gonna make their adjustments.
Right.
But yeah, I think the teams at the very top, the 11.5, that's true. Lions though, interesting because they lost 2 very good coordinators. And if people who know football, play football, I think out of any sport, American sport, football their coaches makes the biggest impact. Because it's all about planning and preparing and all that. And if your coach does not see or cannot prepare for this particular strategy that the opponent is doing to them, your team can't be successful. And with the Lions losing both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Dave Campbell, he got a hell of a job for him. I don't know the 2 new coordinators. They got work to do. They got some big shoes to fill. Gotcha. So that 10.5, I wouldn't be surprised if they go to 9.5.
And what's your thoughts on 49ers? I don't see where this 10, 11 wins is coming from.
I don't know. Because losing Debo is huge. I mean, they're putting a lot of stock in, who's that, Pearsall, what his name is? They put a lot of stock in him because he's supposed to be the replacement. I put San Fran at 8.5.
Yeah, feels more like it. Sort of, definitely knocking on the door, but I'm not sure if they're legit this year. But yeah, certainly, looking forward to, obviously these things have to play out as you guys said, but always at the beginning of the season, certainly like to chop these numbers up. Let's talk about the quarterbacks this year. So again, we also have Madden for 26. They came out with their rankings. So again, they got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson at 99, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. I mean, Lamar, look, I mean, it's something's got to break somewhere. Again, it's still the same thing. Now, again, his tight end, Matthew, certainly let him down in that game. Had the ball in his hands, had to catch it, whatever. But Lamar wasn't great in this game. Threw picks in that game. I don't know if Lamar be ranked up. You see where Jalen Hurts is on his list. So again, any thoughts on shuffling these rankings? I don't know if Lamar deserves a 99 ranking. Just again, given his post, again, at what point are we going to start holding him accountable for his postseason performances? So any thoughts on this list of rankings, or go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Well, this is remember, this is like video games, so this is like overall rankings is based on the value of that particular player, and Lamar Jackson is a 99 when you look at it like that. Because
do you play, Shawnee? Do you play?
Nah, I don't play, but I know how. Cause when they get a 99, they send that respective player like a whole gift and everything to them, like a plaque and everything, congratulating them for making the club 99. But Lamar, he has elite running skills, and he's developed into an elite quarterback as far as passing. That's the whole thing about Lamar, though. Like, how can you be this elite during the regular season and then literally do a complete 180 in the postseason? That's when last year on the internet, I called flat because I said he's an upgraded version of Dak Prescott. He's a better quarterback. Obviously, he has 2 MVPs. The whole thing that people say about Dak, they don't care what Dak do. Even if Dak performed in the regular season, they do not care about what Dak does in the regular season. They go straight to the postseason and talk about his lack of success and how he struggles. Well, guess what? Lamar Jackson does too. He just struggles from a higher cliff. He's a 2-time MVP. He almost won 3. And unless I guess some people think they gave Josh Allen a bone this past season, but Lamar Jackson's numbers was definitely, he could have gotten it. But when the playoffs get, you do not see that same Lamar Jackson from the regular season to the postseason. So I don't know why that is. Josh Allen, I can see his 99. He delivers both regular season and postseason. It's his teammates who can't seem to come up with him. But Josh Allen delivers. Burrow, elite passer, definitely a killer offense with his 2 weapons, Higgins and Chase. He don't have a defense by him, but I could see his 97 being legit because he's an elite passer. And going down the list, I guess Jaden Daniels. If I would look at it last year, it probably would have been C.J. Stroud with that 85. Now it's replaced with Jaden Daniels. It'd be interesting to see how his second year go.
Gotcha. Coach, any thoughts on the list? Even though this is a video game ranking, but just your overall on these rankings, just take the actual quarterbacks, not so much the video game. Are you good with these rankings? Would you have somebody higher or lower on your list, or is there someone on this list who deserves to be in that top 10 spot?
Man, I think the top 2 could be right on. I think this is a year they're trying to push Josh Allen to be more of a a face of the NBA. But everything still goes through Patrick Mahomes. Lamar, yeah, you can give him a 99 because they don't base it off playoff. They just base it off regular season. I think Matthew Stafford right now is over. I think his numbers could be lower. And Justin Herbert. They like that. But Jalen Hurts, He's always going to be the middle of the pack. Baker Mayfield, I can see him. He's on the rise. If he has a breakout, another good season this year, then I think he'll be back at top form. Jaden Daniels, he's yeah, he's the best up and coming quarterback. Uh,
Right.
but I think Matthew Stafford, I think he's a little high. But he's with the LA Rams, man. They love Sean McVay
Mhm.
and Baker Mayfield. No, Justin Herbert.
Right.
I think he's too high. He should be up under Jaden Daniels. But
Right. And we'll have to see again if in fact McLaurin is traded or doesn't play this year or whatever. We have to see how Janis is going to perform without arguably his best wide receiver. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But last bit in the NFL. So again, Shador Sanders is expected to start this game in the preseason. Apparently, these are some of his numbers. Certainly in the I guess some of the camp scrimmages here, 49-70 passing, 6 TDs. Do you think that he has a legit chance of being a starter this year? Is it going to be Joe Flacco for sure, or does he have a legit chance of moving up and being a legit contributor on his team, if not the starter going forward this year? What do you think his prospects are? Do you think he's going to get a fair shot?
Go ahead,
I
coach.
think it's his preseason numbers, right?
Yeah, just like I guess they got these numbers from some internal scrimmages or whatever, and just his
Okay.
stats in training camp.
Yeah.
But again, he's going to start this opening preseason
Yeah.
game. Again, is this a tell of what he's going to be able to do, or
I don't know, man. I get when I look at quarterbacks, especially back quarterbacks, it's always the criticism early. Nobody had this type of criticism when they drafted Mitch Stravinsky in the first round. Nobody had these issues. They was saying he could possibly be a great quarterback. The Browns, they probably the slowest organization moving right now. They just got Tyler Huntley on the roster. So you got damn 6 quarterbacks fighting for what, 2, maybe 3 positions. With these numbers, it's starter numbers. These are starter numbers. As far as the repetition and when you playing against another team at fast pace under them big lights, that's when his real money will shine. And if he plays anything like this and play consistent, avoid the turnovers, I think he'll be all right. I think going into next week after the scrimmage, I think he'll get more reps. If he can show in 25 plays that he can lead them down the field, avoid a turnover, even if they kick in 2 field goals, put points on the board, then people are they're going to just be able to see what he's already capable of doing. He's a 4-year college starter. So you shouldn't be no doubt. He's won, 85, 90% of his games. So you can't, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, everybody don't play football, so everybody don't see it like that. Just unfortunate he went to the wrong team. But yeah, if you start, yeah, I wish him all success, man. I think he'll be all right. They better not cut him. Cleveland Brown fans won't sell out. They won't sell out one game if they cut him.
Well, you have to remember they also have Dylan Gabriel. They drafted in a round before. I think he's the 3rd round or
Like
fourth
third
round
round,
pick.
yeah.
Yeah, so they may view him higher than Shador. Just
He's
it,
starting. I think he's starting the preseason though.
yeah,
He,
yeah, because by default, because
yeah,
Flacco he wasn't going to play. He's going to be starter. He wasn't going to play. Then Pickens and Gabriel are both dealing with some little injury. So by default, Sanders, okay, here's your time to shine. You almost basically uh, did they? I don't know. I think he may be the only quarterback playing this whole game as long as he don't get hurt. So you literally, I mean, it's one thing to play in a preseason game, but you literally going to have at least 3 quarters, maybe a whole game to put something on film to showcase your stuff. And so that's a benefit for him because in the day he's a 5th round pick, so he's down the depth chart already. So he really has to shine to go up 3 spots, let alone 4, to be a starter. So I think Flacco, I think he'll be starter at least the first month. And unless the wheels just fall off of him, then they ultimately, you got 2 other quarterbacks who are going to be in line before you even get to Sanders. So I think during this preseason, he really has to shine. He just really has to shine, because if you just go by just the natural position on the depth chart, he may just be having a fate of being a practice squad quarterback right now.
Right.
But my thing is, and I mentioned it in the chat that we had about Sanders, because I mentioned it last week. People can, reason why Sanders basically failed in this past draft, because people had all this stuff to say, I guess, about, I don't know, I guess you can characterize his character. I don't really know how you can characterize it. I think he was just too cocky, or whatever their reasons were, but it definitely wasn't on the field. It wasn't not on the field base. It was off the field, personality related. And I believe during this whole time, during this whole offseason, he has handled himself A+. A+. He has not complained 1 second, him or his brother. And his brother went undrafted to the Buccaneers. But they have not complained 1 second. So whatever that narrative that was people was trying to throw out there when he was drafted, in particular the people within the NFL, because they the one who was doing it. That's why everybody outside the NFL was so shocked he was falling like this. We thought he was number 2 quarterback coming out of college. It was between him and Cam Ward. Somehow they've been ranked everybody above him. But I believe he has handled himself A+ to, say because right now the Browns have five quarterbacks on their roster, including Watson. That's unheard of. So it's about somebody gonna get kicked off, man. Somebody gonna be kicked off, and it may be a good chance. It may be Sanders. But I believe that there should be a team now who be like, okay, we don't have to worry about whatever all this stuff that was said about him during the draft time. Obviously, that's false. And they'll be more inclined to picking him up if he was to come available. But the question I had and I brought up was that, do you believe that Sanders, and I don't want to make it sound as a negative, but because all the negative comments that was made about him, mainly due personality based, and how he's composed himself during this off season, do you believe that is a mask that he is has to wear? Because as soon as I don't even think the dude can really show any type of emotions. Like, he's a quarterback. He's a young quarterback. They have the right to get frustrated at times. But as soon as he gets frustrated or anything, they gonna say, "Oh, that's why we didn't draft him as high as y'all believe we should have." It's like he has to follow this imaginary, this super straight and narrow path, because as soon as he falters just a little bit, especially where he is on the depth chart with the Browns currently, and other teams looking at him, they just watching every step he makes. So he has to keep this facade of being very, very positive. And I was like, it feels like I don't.
Do you think it's a facade? Do you think it's a facade? You think that's his true nature?
I think that's his nature. It just, to me, it just looks like he has no choice but to be that. If you understand what I'm saying, if he shows any type of frustration or anything like that, or if he, not even frustration, if he even admits that he has a chip on his shoulder based on his draft position, that could be looked at and viewed as a negative, because he hasn't mentioned that. All he's been saying, he's been grateful for his opportunity he's been given. That's literally, every time they ask him that, that's the path he takes. but you know, as a professional player, because it's what drives them. Many of these players will know every person of their respective position who got drafted before them. So
Hmm.
Sanders, I'm sure, is no different, but he cannot mention that. He cannot say yes. Me being a fifth round pick, that puts a huge chip on my shoulder, an incredible chip on my shoulder. Because I don't believe there was however many quarterbacks better than me that got drafted before me. But he cannot
So
say that. He has to keep this. He has to keep this. I don't know, but I want to say facade. But if you understand, 'cause I don't want to make it look like he's being fake. So
no, he's always been reserved. Even
yeah, yeah.
I guess outside the field, he's been reserved. But he's in the NFL now, so you know, yeah, I think that he was prejudged, and it's unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate because he's clearly, and everybody knows he was clearly at least a top three quarterback coming out the draft, third round at most. But here we are.
Into it. Well, it looks like he's definitely going to have an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for. You sometimes you can't plan that. It's definitely going to be something where he gets to start, let's shine, and let the Browns have to make a difficult decision. You know what I mean? So again, you don't necessarily choose your opportunities, but when it's there, you got to make it count. Hope he does well, and look forward to starting. So covered a lot of NFL for this first hour plus. We're going to get into the last segment of tonight and close the show on a decent note. But let's switch over to the NBA. So I put this in our group chat. This is something that certainly Coach he may have an appreciation for. Oh, and shout out to
Oh, and then cut
Brother
him off
Benny,
when
you
he's about to
just
get a shout
froze,
out.
man. You just froze, brother. Shout out to Mailbox Sports in the chat. Shout out to who else? Trucker Yale. Shout out to who else we got up there? Brother Time. Yeah, I think he's mentioned it. But salute to y'all, man. Thank y'all for joining us, man. Lost in translation. Yeah, salute, brother. Who else is in this link right here? So, man, salute to everybody. Come out, man. Brother Bennett got some technical issues. That's what happened when you traveling around the world, man. You know.
I'm looking at this comment mailbox sport. It had that we have highlighted currently, but Sanders
Okay,
saying
he has had some speeding to yell here twice already, but the fact that he is a Sanders and he does have his dad's personality, he has to downplay it until he prove his worth. Fortunate, yeah, you speeding, man. When you 22, man, what you got a car that goes 185 miles an hour? Yeah, what you expect? I just
I
wouldn't
think
drive.
yeah, no, obviously we not promoting any of that, but we don't want to sit here and throw bricks at the dude because he got caught speeding. Because a lot of us, maybe not that fast, but it was it was a time we had lead in our foot. Only thing about that is you just unfortunately the NFL within the last 5 years or so has had some devastating accidents when it comes to their players
Yeah,
speeding.
speeding, yeah,
So you don't want him.
be nowhere near that.
I'm glad that didn't happen, but
Yeah.
if you're looking at from somebody in the higher ups in the NFL, they were like, man, we just don't. We had one dude who I think the Ruggs had to go to jail.
Oh man, I think Ruggs. I think they just. It was something about him a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, about his sentencing and stuff like that. I just saw something.
And Rice
Yeah,
dodged the bullet. He
yeah,
he didn't have to go. So okay, mailbox said he's still in jail. So
yeah.
that we have some within the last 5 years. Some extremes when it comes to players speeding. So
Yeah.
you
Even
know
with Tyreek Hill, his little incident last year, in his nice speedy car. So
yeah, yeah. So Sanders, don't put yourself in that type of media storm. Because if something happens to him, you
yeah,
best believe it's gonna.
and,
And
and,
that's
and
why and that's why I know it's all talk about Sanders, but when I go back to the Browns, I'm like, but they also have another rookie quarterback that they drafted in Dylan Gabriel. I'm like, and he has just enough rights to make that squad as Sanders do. You know, because
Yeah.
I'm looking at, okay, you drafted, okay, who cares where you drafted now? You can believe you better than this player or not, but y'all both, at least the Bears, they'll find out who's better between the two of them because we're gonna see how y'all perform on the field. So, you know, I think the Gabriel he has his right to maybe he getting tired of everybody just automatically putting Sanders as a starter. He be like, hold on, man. You know, I'm the one who made it to the college football playoffs last year.
Yeah.
You
I,
know,
I think that's that. I think that's for him to just be quiet about it. I think that's all part of a good play. Cleveland, they understand. They know that they can do two things. Well, several. They can go several different routes. If Shador, Sanders, and Gabriel shine in the preseason, everybody else is expendable except Deshaun Watson. Maybe keep Joe Flacco. Everybody else is expendable. If those two prove that they can play, they can back up Joe Flacco because Joe Flacco's proven. And I think with the experience, the more reps they get, then who knows which one to outshine the other. But it's going to be interesting, man.
I believe we all kind of know the ceiling for Kenny Pickett. I mean,
Yeah. So
I know we're not trying to have these, them quarterbacks jump over, unfairly jump, but Kenny Pickett, I think we have enough tape on you to be like, you're a career backup guy.
yeah,
And these two young Bulls, they trying to be potentially starters, so they have something left. They have something to prove. We kind of know what you're gonna bring, So if I think Gabriel or Sanders can take Pickett's spot. Watson, you were saying everybody may be expendable. They wish they can get rid of Watson.
yeah. You can't get it.
But y'all gave him that contract. Y'all gave him that contract. So, but Mailbox not replied to him on the chat. He was asking if we are Bears fans. I was like, no, we not. But Hink, whenever he joins us from time to time, he's our residential Bears fan. He'll let us know what's going on. But speaking of them, I've been hearing. I guess Caleb Williams is not really doing well in the camps right now, and it's camps. But I believe I heard Ben Johnson's system is rather complicated. It's going to take time for Williams to adjust, and I just don't like what some NFL fans be. They'll just judge you. Say if Williams come out struggling the first two games. And they were like, oh, he's a bust. He's a bust. Like, dude, it's a brand new system for him. And it may be more complicated than the last one is. We know Ben Johnson is proven. Give it time. Give it time so he can mess with his quarterback, so his quarterback can learn his system. And then by by October and later, then you can get a better feel how Caleb Williams will mesh with his new head coach. But I believe, I still think Williams, he had a chance. But it don't help him though that Jaden Daniels came out. Because when you that 1 and 2 quarterback, they always gonna compare the two of you. Some believe that Jaden Daniels should have got picked before Caleb Williams, and then meanwhile, your team missed. You the number 1 overall pick. Your team missed the playoff. The number 2 pick leads his team to the NFC Championship game. So now people gonna be. It's almost like C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. So yeah, I think Caleb was gonna be fine, but I want to give him some patience just because he got a new system. Mr. Benny, back with us?
I think so. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm on my phone right now. So again, my computer, I had to do kind of a hard boot on that. I'm trying to get it back to put up that last post that I want to show for tonight. But basically, so the screen, if I can get it up, I'm trying to work with the phone to see if I can get it to show. But basically, it was an all-day. So this is going to the NBA. So it was like an all-decade. It was like an all-decade selection regarding players going from the 70s, from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s. And the surprising thing about it is that basically there was no LeBron, uh, who was the face of the league in any of those decades. So I wanted to kind of get everybody's opinion on those players who were selected as the player of those decades. So what I'll try to do, Shawnee, if you have that in the back, if you can bring up that screenshot, and maybe we can just sort of talk about it until I can get myself back into the stream and see if we can chop that up, and that'll be like one of the final blocks for the show tonight. But
Okay, let me. I was just pulling it up. I'm gonna save it and then go from there. Okay.
all right, trying to come back in now. So let me see if I can get it up here. I'll try to do that.
Let me see. I was trying to see if I can.
I'm trying to get in here too. Everything's just loading up. I'm just trying to get in here. Sorry, guys, in the stream. Again, we appreciate you guys being with us tonight. Again, certainly Mailbox Sports. Once again, appreciate you being here. Certainly to contribute to the chat tonight. And again, you being a Cleveland native. So again, I don't know how you would take, since you are from Cleveland. So again, this might be of interest to you regarding the LeBron's placement. I don't know where you stand on the GOAT conversation. Is in fact LeBron James, is he the GOAT of the NBA in your view? Is that still MJ? Certainly I'd be interested in your certainly views on that if you're still in the chat. To drop in your 2 cents on that conversation, where you fall on it. But let me see if I can get in here. I think I'm almost in, and if I will, then I'll try to switch over. I think I'm in. So let me see if I can get back in the stream here, and then I'll share that slide. So I'm going to take my camera off here, and then I'm going to see if I can get this to show. Okay, so I'm back on this guy here. So I'm going to take myself off stage, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, we was while he was getting that situated, he brought it up in our back chat, and me and Dante was like, hey, you know that you open up Pandora's box with that LeBron thing. Right now we're saying, well, we just saw Micah.
All right, here we go.
What was JC say? I look like an Olden Polynese fan. I look like an Olden Polynese fan. Oh boy, the Olden Polynese, we got a random mention for old boy.
Brother B. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, how old were you when Olden Polynese played, man? 22. 20.
I was in my 20s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now. Yeah, we
all right, so okay, can you guys hear me okay? Am I echoing?
No, you're pretty loud. You're good.
I'm good.
Right.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this came out again. So this is the GOATs by decade. All right. So again, you got 60s, they count Bill Russell, 70s, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 80s, Magic Johnson, 90s, Michael Jordan, 2000s, Kobe Bryant, 2010, Steph Curry. So again, no LeBron in this conversation. So first of all, do you agree with the GOAT by decade list here? I think certainly 90s Michael Jordan is going to be pretty hard to argue in that regard. But Kobe of the 2000s, he's got what 4 or 5 rings in that period. So again, hard to argue. Steph Curry, in the 2010s, he's been there, even though LeBron beat him once. But what are your thoughts on the list? And should LeBron be part of this conversation, at least from the aughts, as they call it,
and the Twins, and even now I guess the 20s. So what's your thoughts on this? So, Coach, your thoughts on the overall list and LeBron's placing? Do you think he should supersede somebody from the aughts and the tens?
Yeah. So technically, okay. So basically, I'm gonna say no. Based off championships alone, he doesn't qualify. The top four, sure, a lot. If you want to put Michael Jordan with the 90s, yeah, okay. He had 6 years in the 80s, leading scored 30-some points a game, 4 or 5 straight years. 1 year he averaged 37. Didn't get his first championship till the 90s. So he played 9 years before he got his first. But the fact, yeah, so again, Kobe, 3 with Shaq, 2 without, 5 in the 2000s. Steph, similar, but I don't think it was like towards the end of the teens. But yeah, you can't. I don't have no arguments with this list just because of championships. But LeBron would be there if you're talking just in far as play. But championships, yeah, that's a GOAT by decade.
And overall, you good with the list from the 60s on up? You good with that?
Yeah, because nobody changed the game like had a greater impact on the game than these 6 players, right?
Right. My only pushback, if I had one, all right, and it's not LeBron. If you talk about the 70s, and I know he didn't win a lot, but in terms of changing the face of the NBA, Dr. J in the 70s.
Yeah, Dr. J.
I'm like, look, I know Kareem did it. I know LeBron did it. I mean, Kareem did his thing. But Dr. J was, icon. So I may have to go there because keep in mind, Kareem won his championship in 71 with the Bucks, and then he didn't win again until he got with the Lakers in the 80s. So I don't know if I'm going to anoint him to be that. But Doc, in the 70s, I mean, he was the NBA. I mean, I don't know if people want Kareem like that back in the day. But that'd be my only sort of competition. And there was a post that I wanted to bring up tonight that I didn't get a chance to raise. You had what's that guy Broussard? He talked about when Doc played in the set, all those guys. They said the best players of the era were in the ABA. So when you talk about George Geisman, Gervin, and a lot of those guys who came in, Doc won championships in the ABA with players that might have been better than the players in the NBA. So that's an argument that's there. But I got a lot of love. I got a lot of love for Doc, for Dr. J. In this list. And back in the day, everybody wanted to be Dr. J. Everybody was wearing their Converses. I don't think anybody was following Kareem. And, everybody had the fro.
Brother.
I'm just saying, GOAT. That's
brother Bennett. Listen, I know you watched the Fish that Saved Pittsburgh, man.
Yes.
I know you watched that.
100%.
So, I understand you and Dr. J.
I saw it a couple weeks ago, actually.
I understand.
All right, Shawnee, you want to get on this here again? Your thoughts first on the overall list, and again, should LeBron be in this conversation for any of these? Well, obviously the tens, the aughts, and the tens will be the only categories he'd be considered for. But are you good with this list?
Well, I guess when you're looking at this list, I guess you can look at it like, okay, this list was compiled by, mixture of the number of championships they won that particular decade and their impact to the game. I have no problem with the first 5. Steph, I can look at, you put GOATs, obviously Steph is considered the greatest shooter of all time. So that can be his stamp as a GOAT. When it comes to championships, and obviously it's between Steph and LeBron, I believe it's not as tied as Bird and Magic was, because they came in together and their careers is parallel. They pretty much the whole decade of the '80s. But LeBron and Steph ultimately got there at one point in the 2010s, especially at the end. They once they kept seeing each other. They saw each other 4 straight times
What the
in the
Celtics and the
finals.
Lakers?
No, in the
Wasn't four,
finals
it was no, it wasn't four. It wasn't
no,
four straight.
not Celtics and the Lakers. Like I was saying, I meant to like in the '80s with Magic and Bird, they came in the NBA together,
That is
and
correct.
their career just always was parallel throughout that whole decade. LeBron and Steph wasn't like that until the later half of the 2010s, and then I'm trying to remember. I think they met each other for. I don't want to say. Did Steph and LeBron meet each other for 4 consecutive finals? I can't remember. I want to say what they did, but anyway, I still will probably put LeBron there for the 2010s, basically because I believe Steph was on the better team. I don't know. I would love to see the Warriors versus the Heat, but they was kind of like the Heat was the front half of that decade, while the Warriors was the back half of that decade. By that time, Dwayne Wade wasn't the same self, by the time the Warriors became their juggernaut selves. But with LeBron, LeBron won 3 titles that decade. Well, they both did. And then Steph won his 4th title in the 2020s, same as LeBron. And so the titles even. Even though when the Warriors played LeBron, they Steph has the advantage on LeBron like that. But then, okay, you look at titles, just the number of titles, they both equal. But then you look at the rest of the stats and stuff that they compiled in that decade. Obviously, the needle points to LeBron. So
shout out to GC Mark Eaton's critical LeBron.
JC just saying anything. But so I would just me personally, I would put LeBron for the 2010s. But I do, as their careers move on, I do find myself putting LeBron and Steph equal. But LeBron still has all these other stuff that Steph has not, achieved. But Steph LeBron's just looked at as an elite athlete, elite player who was a jack of all trades per se. You look at his career, his stats show all that. But what Steph is looked at was just this elite sniper with the handles who literally put I can't remember a player besides Jordan and his mentality. That's what a lot of people said but Jordan's his mentality. But with Steph's play, the fear that he put in opposing teams to how they would defend him. As soon as this dude crossed half court, they had to put somebody on him, because he was literally just busting your eye right there, and he literally changed the game. That's when the Rockets were like, man, if we want to beat this team, it wasn't that like the Warriors were just shooting threes out, just trying to change it. They just had 2 Hall of Fame snipers, and if you wanted to beat them, you had to go through that. And teams now you got teams like the Rockets going to the extreme, only doing layups or threes, no mid range. And then ultimately that is kind of what you see now in today's NBA. The mid range been taken out. So that's when I look at it. As I look at their careers, I ultimately start looking at Steph almost equivalent to maybe just slightly lower than LeBron. But when it comes to that particular graphic, when you got these decades, then we get to 2010s, I would still put LeBron there. instead of Steph. Like I said, I think both of them, their pathway was going to each other, but they came to each other at the tail end of the 2010s. And LeBron was during the 20 even. LeBron was that dude early 2010s. He was still that dude the tail end 2010s. He was going against another dude who was just playing on the better team. So that's why I give the edge to LeBron. But regardless of that, though, I think, I know it's kind of going off topic just a little bit, but when both of those dudes finally retire, it's going to be a completely different NBA. Because we've been so used to seeing one of them two being the focal point of the NBA. It's just literally just one of them two, and you take them two away. As much hate that LeBron gets, it's gonna be a different NBA. And I really don't. I know we talked about it in the past. I really still don't know who that torch will be passed to. We still don't know. Nobody still can't like give a concrete answer about that.
And don't nobody want to take it. It seems like.
Gotcha.
I believe so, because I believe now it's just not on the court. I believe now, NBA players have got themselves so involved in social justice matters and all that, where they get, darts thrown at them from people outside the basketball community. I think a lot of them just don't want to deal with that. They just want to focus on basketball. They don't want that attention on them, because depending on who it's coming from, it can kind of be a hindrance if you're just not built for that.
Yeah, JC's having fun with this, but I want to see if I can play this clip again, going back to the GOAT discussion from the 70s. So again, I did mention Chris Broussard. He made this argument. Let me see if I can bring this up and share this, and then we'll look to wrap up the show tonight. Let me see if I can get this to go. Let's see, share screen. Let me get this here. Okay, let me see if I can get this to work. Let's see here, Facebook, and share the audio, and let me know if you guys can hear this. Give me a thumbs up. All right, here we go. Let's see.
In a 3-year span, when the ABA would play the NBA in exhibition games, in almost 100 of them. And the ABA won 65% of those games. So if half of the best players in the world at that time, George Gervin, Rick Barrett, many others, were in the ABA. So if we give Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, all the Knicks, all these teams that won championships in that stretch when the ABA existed, when half of the best players in the world weren't in the NBA, we have to give the ABA guys credit. So Doc has 3 championships. He played in 4 NBA finals, won 1. I'm putting him ahead of Durant. Dr. J has 3 championships. He has the one in the NBA.
Let me stop that. Did you guys hear that? Were you guys able to see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me stop sharing if I can here. Okay. So that's why I was just making a point about because I know Trey talked about, again, the ABA doesn't count, but again, the ABA had a lot of talent, certainly in that early to mid 70s period, which Dr. J played in, and again, some of the greatest players, certainly in NBA history, certainly had their starts in the ABA before they combined in the ABA folded. So again, I just got a lot of love for Doc. I think for a lot of guys, if you grew up in the 70s, it was Dr. J and everybody else. Nobody was rocking Kareem like that until then. Or if you were a Knicks fan, you might have liked what's the man, Frazier, Clyde Frazier, something like that. But Dr. J, he was the NBA. Certainly in that time period. So
I put it like this, Mr. Bennett. I think the perfect illustration to show how big Dr. J was, I'm pretty sure y'all may have seen that picture. The picture of him at Rucker Park and how everybody was sitting even on the roof and trees.
Sitting in trees and everything.
That picture right there, I don't think I could share my screen based on, I guess, the privileges
Well,
to have.
if you share it, then I might be able to take it. So see what you're going to share, then I think I can approve it.
Let me see. I meant to save it, but that picture right there, to me, just greatly just shows you how big Dr. J was during his time.
Right. And then also you can argue that he was one of the pioneers. I know you had Dr. Duncanstein back then and David Thompson and whatnot, but they brought the dunk to, like, at least in the 80s, the slam dunk contest. They're the ones who kind of took the dunk to an art form, certainly in that time as well. So I for so many reasons, like I said, Dr. J is always going to be infinity. So I can't think of the 70s without thinking about Dr. J. But are you still trying to share, Shawnee?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm about to save it real quick. Well, I thought. Yeah, I gotta find a good format for the pick. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me see if I can share this. Okay, now I tried to share it. I don't know if you can.
Yep, I got it right here.
Yeah, that pick right there, that shows you just how huge Dr. J was during his time. I mean, this is just ridiculous how all these people here, you can see them all on the roof of that, a school nearby. Mm-hmm. They just hanging out on the ledge, they on the roof. People who stand in the trees back there. All those people are there to see him.
Yeah.
And that's how big it was. That's why Dr. J was Michael Jordan before MJ. Michael Jordan grew the game globally, but domestically in this country, it was Dr. J.
Oh, Dr. J.
Well, look, like I said, I definitely think he brought a stop. Bird and Magic saved the NBA. I mean, so I got to give those two special consideration for taking the NBA national. Them certainly in the NCAA championship, and then certainly with the NBA ratings and whatnot, the Celtics, Lakers. I think that brought it to another level. That Michael certainly took it there. But I think certainly Dr. J, certainly had the league going. Certainly in the 70s. So again, we're not saying the GOAT. We're saying the GOAT of the 70s or the GOAT by decade. I would never put him as the greatest of all time. We're just talking about just for that decade, all those players in those different decades, who was the dominant player of that decade. And in that slide we had, they picked Kareem. But again, I would certainly give Dr. J some credit in that. Okay, so you may not agree that he might be the GOAT of the 70s, but certainly I would beg to differ. But that'll be an argument for sure. But in any event, last slide of the night. So this was actually going to be part of my closing comments, so we can certainly get ready for closing comments for the end of the show. And this is more of a rant than anything else, but this is going to be my closing as we kind of get into closing comments for the show. So my thing is, it's like, what are we doing in the world of sports? What we're calling sports here is I'm like, what are we doing? So I posted in our chat. There's a video of the pillow fighting championships. That is going on right now. So again, it's part of Honor Sports Weekend. And then again, I know this has been around for a while. I still don't understand this slapping competition. Like, why is this even considered a sport? You stand there and you let somebody hit you as hard as they can, and your athletic ability is in the fact that you can take the shot without getting knocked out. So I don't know where we're going. People just looking for, for different exercises or what have you. Now, you can say it may be this as a sport, yes, an activity involving physical exertion and a skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. But this just feels different. Again, pillow fighting as a sport, slapping as a sport. I don't, it just kind of affects me some kind of way here. So I don't know what your thoughts are. If you want to say by the letter of the law, if you want to call it at least pillow fighting, the whole idea with the slapping, I don't see how that's a sport. Because again, you're not. What's the skill? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're exactly on another player, but you let somebody hit you. So again, how do you even train for that? How do you toughen up? Well, you can toughen up your neck. You're doing a bunch of neck rolls or something, so you don't get to feel the impact of the sport. I don't know. So, Coach, your thoughts on either the pillow fighting or the slapping contest? Is this sport in your view? Is this something that look? My thing is ESPN lost when they started putting poker on ESPN. I thought, okay, well, we're in a different area now. When they were looking for content, they're putting pool playing, which has been for a while. Bowling, you can say, okay, I guess that's a sport, but pool playing cards, poker. So if you're gonna put that on ESPN, then I guess you could put this on ESPN also. But just what are your thoughts on these here? Are these sports in your view, regardless of the definition? What's your thoughts? And this will be our last segment. Now we'll close out. So
I like rich people with money. They get bored and they come up with listen. We used to pillow fight in the room in the sanctified spaces of your home, but the fact that they are getting paid to do this, it's outrageous. People are bored. I think it should go down to the younger kids, though, knock some of the ADHD out of the kids, man. Let's a pillow fight. Have a little pillow fight with the young folk, man. They need something like this. I say 12 and up. Put them in there at 12 and let them just hack at each other with a pillow. But these are grown people playing kids' games, smacking somebody. Oh, man, I would go see it, but to think that I would know somebody want to sign up to intentionally get slapped down there, bust your eardrums and shot, fracture your jawbone and all that, man. You got to be sort of out there because I don't want nobody to push me too hard. I'd be ready to go, but some people like it.
Hey,
maybe Trey. Hey, first of all, we are old, so at least me and the coach are. So
Trey's ass is old too.
I'm not gonna.
Trey old too.
He's younger than us. But Shawnee, your thoughts on these?
It's a community out there for everybody. I mean, it's a community. I mean, sports, like I think Trey, sports is just competing, and it's a community of people who believe if you put them versus somebody else, they're gonna try to prove that they better than another person.
You 40. You old.
Sports has the scope of sports, broaden.
You got gray hair.
And with ESPN, they showing it. They got all these channels now. And that'll be a good topic for next week. Have y'all heard the news? ESPN acquired NFL Network. Yep. I'd love to hear y'all opinions about that next week.
Yeah, definitely next week.
Yeah. And but yeah, they got all these channels. They got to fill out and put on both TV and on their app. I saw one the other day. We got on this picture pillow fighting and slapping each other. Yeah, they over there broadcasting tag. They run around chasing each other, going through like a jungle gym thing and chasing, and there's a community out there for everybody, man. If you, they consider video game sports, esports.
Yeah.
So they compete each other playing a video game. So sports is just basically me versus you, and we gonna put ourselves in a way that we can compete to determine who's gonna be better at the two. And a lot of times, whoever determines the winner, you get rewarded for it. So I guess if there's a reward for it, it'll be a sport. Now, is it traditional sports that what many people will think of when they think of the word sport? No, but yeah, sports is just anything that two people compete with each other.
I have a question for both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know ESPN showcases the hot dog eating contest. Is that a sport?
Not in my view. Look, is it physical exertion according to the definition? I guess.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. Now, again, Trey said that pool playing is a sport. I never believe that. I think there's things you can do as a skill. Where is the physical exertion in shooting a cue ball? I mean, coordination, yes. But just saying, I wouldn't put archery as a true sport either. I mean, it's like, so again, I got, yeah, not all competition is a sport though. A beauty pageant isn't a sport in my view. It's a competition, but I'm not going to put a beauty pageant or any kind of pageant up there. So my thing is, but these seem to be the latest things, and I don't know why these pillow fights have been coming up in my streams. And I saw some videos of it and whatnot. I was like, you got to be kidding. So I figured I would just, I must have. And then so with that, and then I was thinking about the slapping, which I never talked about. And I'm just saying, this is kind of weird.
No, I don't really consider the hot dog eating as a sport, but it is, they all competing with each other.
It's physical exertion on both ends.
I never understood, but they do train for that. I never understood how you can eat that much and just not have
it. Like I said, you're going to be physical exerting on the front end, and you're going to be exerting on the back end at some point in time. So I guess in that sense, it might be the most demanding of sports at the end of the day. But with that, fellas, good chopping it up with you guys. Yeah, there's jaw muscles that you got to train. It must be a sport.
No, I think they train to expand their stomach. That's what they do. I don't.
But some of the guys are skinny. I don't see how to expand. I mean, some guys are like big 300-pounders, and some of these guys, especially these Asian guys, are like not even 165 pounds.
I just heard that they know how to expand their stomach, man.
I don't see how they do it, man. But in any event, so hopefully this, we have some levity here. Obviously, we get into the preseason. NFL's coming up. Certainly the MLB, which we haven't talked about a lot. Certainly things are starting to form. My Yankees are falling off a cliff. So they're free falling fast. So look, we'll chop it up more, but this is what happens. We bringing up everything, certainly in these spaces, but certainly appreciate you guys being
1-1 presents the Ocho. That's what basically we in right now. Like
there we go.
Ocho.
There we go. So, but again, appreciate you guys being on with us tonight. Again, as we leave the show tonight, make sure again hit the like button. Certainly as you go out tonight, and again follow us next week as we talk about more content in the world of sports, and certainly we'll follow the Cowboys. And we did talk about Trey. We did talk about your Commanders and that situation. So we'll see what happens over the next few days. But appreciate you guys as always being with us tonight. So again, for myself, Mr. Bennett, for Brother Shawnee, for the coach, and for our guy absent Dante, taking care of business, take care of fam. Salute you, fam. We certainly look forward to seeing you guys next week. Baseball at Bristol. What's your opinion? Oh, you talk about the racetrack. They're playing baseball in the track or whatever. It's carnival. I don't know. I don't see how people paying attention to anything with all those. How can you concentrate when you got them loud cars running around the track, or if the place is so big, you don't hear the cars. But
were they having cars driving during the game?
I don't know. I mean, I thought that was the appeal. Why put
that baseball game, the Field of Dreams, that was nice. That was nice. What got me though?
They weren't racing.
They weren't racing. Okay.
But that Field of Dreams, they had that on that cornfield, and after the game, they had the fireworks. I'm like, damn, y'all about to start a fire over there, man. Turn the fireworks off.
Yeah.
But that was a nice field though. I like that.
For sure. All right, guys, let's get on out of here. But again, we'll see you guys next week. Until next time, take care. God bless. We'll see you next week. Good night.